The following is a presentation of 912 Sports. Welcome to On Air with 912 Sports, your number one source for high school sports. With Sean Smoke and Kevin Price. On Air with 912 Sports is brought to you by Coastal Pines Technical College. Go Coastal. Prime South Bank. Find your prime. Robbie Robertson Ford, because Fords are cheaper in the swamp. Gibson Animal Clinic, practical solutions with limited fees. Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, the region's best orthopedic care. And Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with eXp Realty.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
Hard to believe we're down to just 2 weeks remaining in the 2024 regular season. Hello, everyone, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, and we've got a great show for you tonight. Friday, November the 1st was supposed to be the end of the 2024 regular season, but with Hurricane Helene storming through Georgia back in late September, it forced several schedule changes and even forced the GHSA to push back the start of the state playoffs. But alas, we're down to the final 2 weeks. Head writer and podcast host Kevin Price and myself will preview all the games on tap for Friday, November the 1st. All this and more on tonight's episode of On Air with 912 Sports. We'll be right back after these messages.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sean Smoke, and this is In Case You Missed It. The Pierce County Bears are perfect 8-0 on the season with a win last week over Tattnall County. However, they'll need to win one more this week versus the Appleton County Pirates to be region champs of Region 3 AA in the 912 Sports Game of the Week. Coffee High is 23-1 over their last 24 games, but they'll need to win number 25 this week versus Thomas County Central to host a first-round playoff game here in 2024. Second and third place are on the line for Region 2-5A, with Lee County locking up the number 1 spot. Both Camden and Richmond Hill lost this past Friday night, leaving only one playoff spot between the two teams. Both need a win, but there is a path for Richmond Hill to lose and still get in with a Camden loss. Ware County Gators took down the Warner Robins Demons 24-21, setting themselves up for the second spot in Region 1-4A. The Gators still need to win over 0-9 Wayne this Friday to host a first-round playoff game. But congratulations to the Perry Panthers on winning one of the toughest regions in Georgia. The Glen Academy Red Terrors dropped a close one in Springfield, falling to the Effingham Rebels by a final score of 45-43. This puts the Red Terrors in a 2-game must-win situation over the next 2 weeks over Greenbrier and Evans. If they do make the playoffs as a 4 seed, this will be Coach Rocky Hidalgo's 11th year in a row of taking the Glen Academy Red Terrors to the playoffs. That'll wrap it up for this week's In Case You Missed It. Stick around. We've got more On Air with 912 Sports coming up right after these messages.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Calling us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robinson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
Welcome, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, joined by head writer and podcast host Kevin Price. Kevin, how you doing?
Good, Sean. Good to be here. Of course, this would normally be the last week of the regular season, but obviously with that extended week, we'll go another week, and that seems fitting because it would seem very odd for this week to be the last week of the regular season. Of course, we didn't want it to be because of the circumstances that we had with the hurricane wreaking havoc all over southeast Georgia. But obviously some teams will wrap up this week and some next week, just depending on how things fall in their region. But a lot at stake over the next couple of weeks here as we wrap up the regular season in southeast Georgia.
Yeah, Kevin, we're going to jump right into it with the game of the week. First game up, the Pierce County Bears are 8-0 on the season, going to travel over to take on the Appleton County Pirates, who sit there at 6-2. But the records don't matter, Kevin. These guys are both undefeated in the region. This is a region championship game. The winner will be the region champion. So, like I said, a lot on the line. Pierce has been playing really, really good football. But, oh, by the way, Appleton has too. Appleton's got a freshman quarterback that's came in and taken over for Dason Griffiths after his injury. Young Hickox kid. This is people that don't remember. Last year, the receiver, Camden Hickox, who wound up going to Yale, got a couple of state titles in track. This is his younger brother, and he's doing a fantastic job. Appleton's got a lot of receivers. Oh, by the way, but Pierce County is a machine, man. They just keep winning, and keep winning. So this is going to be a really, really great high school football game over in Baxley on Friday night.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we thought this region would boil down to these two teams, playing for a region championship, here at the end of the season, and that's certainly what it's come to. And maybe outside of Blackshear and Baxley, maybe a lot of people have felt like this is a foregone conclusion that Pierce is just going to win this ball game. I mean, they've been steamrolling folks. They've been ranked number 1 all year. The only close game they really had was that game against Brooks County where they won by a field goal there at the end of the ball game. But otherwise, smooth sailing for the Bears. Very solid team on both sides of the ball. But here's Appling. Certainly, of all teams, Appling's not going to roll over and play dead for the Bears. We know that. Obviously, they've only lost 2 ball games. That one to Ware County to start the season, and another one right there in early September to a DeLand team out of Florida that's pretty good as well, but have been rolling ever since. And you mentioned some of the things that have taken place with the quarterback situation and whatnot. But when you look at the Bears, they're averaging 37 points a game, giving up just 6.88 points a game, less than a touchdown and an extra point. And then, but you look at Appling, averaging over 27, almost 28 points a game, and giving up 16, almost 17 points a game. Pretty solid numbers there as well. So obviously they've got a built-in advantage. The Pirates do, I guess, with the home field. But, the Bears thrive in big game atmospheres. They're going to have a good crowd traveling with them too. So it's just going to be interesting to see, how this one turns out. It's certainly going to be a score that I'm going to keep my eye on all throughout the night, Friday night. But the Bears may be favored, on paper, but certainly Appling's going to give it all they have. And this is going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight, and really could go either way. And we'll just have to see how it turns out.
Yeah, Kevin, you mentioned the crowd. There'll be 5,000 or 6,000 people at this football game, man. It'll be packed. It'll be standing room only. And like I said, it seems like the last, 6, 7 years, it's came down to this game. A couple of years ago, they moved it to the middle of the season. This year, it got moved back to the last game of the season where, kind of gets a little more juicy there. But Pierce is definitely going to have to be on their game. And like I said, Appling with a little bit of advantage there for, with that home field. But I'm with you, Kevin. I'm gonna definitely be keeping an eye on this game Friday night. Should be a good one over there in Baxley. But we'll move on. We've got Bacon County at Brantley. Brantley lost to Berrien last week and kind of took the shine off of this game. This game is going to be a little bit bigger, in terms of playoff implications. But Brantley lost, so kind of took that off the table. But nonetheless, they will be playing. Then you got Bradwell at Evans. Bradwell got to go on the road up into the Augusta area. We'll see what happens there. And the next game we're going to talk about, Kevin, is Brunswick at South Effingham. And you say, well, why are you talking about almost an undefeated team against a winless team? Because if Brunswick wins, they're going to lock in the region championship. They're going to be region champs, and we both think it's a foregone conclusion. South Effingham was able to score a touchdown last week. They still, lost a football game, but they hadn't even been able to do that for the last, 3 or 4 weeks of playing. So Brunswick should be the reigning or should be the region champ, after Friday night.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this should be a lopsided score, truthfully, at the end of the night. The good thing for the Pirates is, Sean, they're playing for something. Obviously, that region championship they had last week off, so they should be excited to get back on the field regardless of who they're playing against. But the fact that, it's a business trip to go ahead and wrap up that region championship up in Guyton and to get that out of the way, certainly a big deal for the Pirates. And then, also the little nugget hanging out there is they have a chance to run through the region undefeated. And if they do that, they're going to win their third region championship in 4 years. But each time they will have done that with an undefeated record if they do win these last two, this one against South Effingham and the one next week at Bradwell. So, that makes the stakes a little higher for the Pirates, a little extra juice or something else hanging out there. Not only can they win the region championship, but do it with an undefeated record. And I know that's something they take pride in. But obviously, just want to see if they can come out and click from the opening kick on offense. If they do, this could be a running clock situation in the second half. And then really the Brunswick defense should overwhelm South Effingham at the line of scrimmage, make it tough sledding for them all night. And this really should be just a routine Friday night for the Pirates against the South Effingham team that they just have way more firepower than. Should be an easy win for the Pirates as they wrap up that region title.
We'll move on. We've got Tift at Camden. We'll get into a little bit more of this, here in a minute when we talk in detail. But Camden, a must-win situation to keep yourself, where the playoff hopes alive. Camden does not control their own destiny, but it's just like Al Davis said, just win, baby. If they can get that victory over Tift, then they'll see how the chips fall and see if they, make it into the playoffs. You got Turner at Charlton. Charlton coming off that loss from last week. They've got to try to bounce back and get a win against Turner. And then you got Clinch at Lanier. Clinch really battling out there and sitting in that three-way tie there with Brooks and also Irwin. We'll see how that shakes out. But Clinch got to go on the road to a decent Lanier team, see if they can get the win there. But the next game we're going to talk about, Kevin, is Coffee at Thomas County Central. This is not for a region title. Lee County has locked up the region title, but this is for a home playoff game, Kevin. This is for 2 and 3 in the region. The winner's going to be 2. The loser's going to be 3. And both of these teams are very, very good football teams. Coffee is state champions from last year. Thomas County Central, a state champion from last year. So this is going to be an old-fashioned, slobber knocker over in Thomasville on Friday night. Coffee with that fantastic defense. I mean, they held Houston County, who was sitting there averaging 49 points a game, shut them out, did not let them cross the goal line all night long. That defense is super, super special. And then Thomas County Central, their only loss, to Lee County. So we'll see who can get this one done. But, man, what a fantastic high school football game people are going to get to see in Thomasville on Friday night.
Yeah, for sure. 2 teams that have been ranked in the top 10 in their classification all year. Right now, Thomas County Central 3rd, Coffee 6th. It's just because Coffee lost to Lee County probably a little later in the season than TCC did, and they had a chance to kind of work their way back up. But that is what it is. But you mentioned the Coffee defense. Certainly, it's something we've been talking about for a couple of weeks. Not necessarily on the air, even though we did mention it on the air. But that defensive performance for Coffee, like you mentioned, against Houston County, I mean, that's a high-flying offense. And they held that group to under 300 yards and shut them out 14-0. So that tells you that Coffee is a tough matchup for any offense in this classification. That Coffee defense can keep their team in any ball game. But, this TCC defense, no slouch either. When you look at the numbers, Coffee giving up just over 12 points a game, TCC giving up just under 16. So, obviously, they've got a tough defense too. The one score that really it kind of makes you go, makes you wonder how this one may go is the game against Houston County. Thomas County Central beat them 41-31. Obviously, a whole heck of a lot more points scored in that ball game between the teams than it was when Coffee played and beat Houston County 14-0. But I think this is going to be an old Southeast Georgia defensive struggle. I think it's going to be tough to score on either one of these defenses, and it could really be a race to 20, Sean. If somebody could put 20 points on the scoreboard, if I was one of the head coaches, I would take that right now and put the game on my defense to see if I could win it with defense like they certainly like to. But this is going to be a good one, physical, hard-fought football game. Might not be for a region championship, but it is for a home playoff game, and that's important too.
Exactly. Like I said, that home playoff game gets you that extra revenue there with hosting one of those things. And it's just, we all know it's just easier to play at home than it is on the road. So we'll see who gets it done on Friday night in Thomasville. Last game we're going to talk about in this segment, Kevin, Statesboro's got to travel up to Effingham. Effingham coming up with that slim victory over Glenn this past week. Statesboro with a big win. So both of these teams are, coming off victories. We'll see who gets it done on Friday night. But that's going to do it for the first half of the games that are set up for November the 1st. We'll be right back here with more On Air with 912 Sports right after these messages.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Welcome back, sports fans. I'm Sean Smoke. He's Kevin Price, and we're talking about the games coming up this Friday, November the 1st here in the 912. First game up we're going to discuss is Greenbrier at Glenn. You'll be on the call there between the bricks. Glenn needs a win to stay in that playoff hunt. Greenbrier got to come down from Augusta, so we'll see who can get that one done. But we're going to take an in-depth look here, Kevin, at Fitzgerald at Jeff Davis. Fitzgerald tied for first with Thomasville and Worth County. So they're battling it out. And then Jeff Davis sitting there tied with Bacon, Brantley, and Berrien at the bottom half, all four of those teams fighting for that number 4 spot. It's going to be a crazy next couple of weeks in that region, Kevin. But we'll see who shakes out and comes away with the victory there between Fitzgerald and Jeff Davis.
No question. I mean, obviously, this is a big game for both teams. They're just on the opposite ends of the totem pole in this region. And, looking at it from, Jeff Davis's standpoint, a couple of big ball games. Fitzgerald, obviously, one of the better teams in this region, tied for that number 1 spot in the league, still in the running for the region championship there. Jeff Davis fighting for their playoff lives coming down the stretch here. They've got to play this one against Fitzgerald. And then next week, I think, Berrien. So 2 big ball games to end the season for Jeff Davis. So obviously, if they win this one, Sean, it's kind of like getting that birdie on that tough par 4 in a major where you maybe gain a stroke on the field. If they could win this one, it would certainly be a big feather in their cap and do a lot for their confidence as well. I mean, beating Fitzgerald would be a big win. Certainly, they got them in the Pine Lands where they're always tougher than they are on the road. Pretty good place to play a high school football game on a Friday night. But then Fitzgerald, just to touch on them real quick, no sense in them taking Jeff Davis lightly at all. They're in that first 3-way tie for first, with Thomasville and Worth, and all 3 of those teams have beaten each other. So it's just a triangle there that's going to have to get some separation somehow if somebody were to lose. Otherwise, they're going to have to break out the rule book and go to those tiebreakers, beyond head to head to see how the seeding shakes out. Those teams should be 1, 2, 3 in some order, depending on what happens, how many points are scored, how many points are allowed, whatever it is that they've got written down in the rule book. But for our team here in Southeast Georgia, just winning is the important thing to try to get that number 4 spot.
Yeah, like I said, a lot on the line there in that game over in the Pinelands on Friday night. Calvary Day is going to travel over to Liberty County. Liberty coming off that big win last week, so we'll see if they can stay in the W column. Long at Islands. Long lost another heartbreaker last week. Go to 6-2 on the season. They should be able to get well at Islands this Friday night. See if they can put one back in the W column. Portal at MCA. MCA with a big win last week over Savannah, put up a lot of points, and we'll see if they can keep the train rolling over down there in Darien. And then the next game we're going to talk about in detail is New Hampstead travels to Benedictine. This is another crazy region, Kevin, where everything's kind of, the only thing that everybody knows is Perry's going to win that region regardless of what happens Friday night. So Perry's going to be the number 1. Everything from there down is left up to, who wins, who loses. The crazy thing about this, and Benedictine's not in our coverage area, but if Benedictine loses this game to New Hampstead, they're done. They're out of the playoffs, which is just hard to fathom, especially after the way they started this year. With everything and all the hype and the high rankings. But we'll see who can get it done. New Hampstead's got that high-powered offense. They're going to sling it all over the field. Benedictine having to play with a backup quarterback, but they are at home, so we'll see who gets this one done in Savannah. And I believe this game, Kevin, is being played on Thursday night.
Yeah, so, and last year, obviously, New Hampstead gave Benedictine a heck of a ball game. Terrell went crazy, went wild. It was kind of like he was unconscious that night, threw all over the place. They couldn't stop him. They couldn't slow him down. Somehow, Benedictine won the ball game, so that ended up just kind of being a highlight for Terrell in his career, the number of yards in the game he had against a really good BC team. I talked to him as our scholar athlete before the season started, and he just remembered not really knowing that he threw for that many yards. He was just kind of lost in the moment, if you will, just slinging that ball all over the place, didn't know what his stats were, just playing, play by play, and, it was clicking, they were working. And next thing you know, they were in a heck of a ball game against BC. Then he looks at the stats and kind of, goes, wow, himself, had no idea he threw for that many yards. So obviously that's a concern for Benedictine. They probably spent some time in the offseason just preparing for this ball game in some of their summer sessions and whatnot, just defending Truell and the New Hampstead offense with what they like to do. Without their quarterback themselves, their starting quarterback, obviously they're a different team. They lost a tough one last week to Perry after losing, earlier to Ware County in the same game that he went down in. They're not going to want to get in the shootout, so they're going to probably be, not necessarily 3 yards in the cloud of dust, but they're going to take their time, I think, when they have the ball on offense to see if they can keep Truell on the sidelines and limit the times that he's on the field with that football in his hands. But, again, BC probably the better overall team, even without their starting quarterback. New Hampstead's had issues on defense, But with Terrell back there throwing that football, this one's far from over. Certainly not a foregone conclusion for Benedictine, certainly without their quarterback.
Yeah, it should be a good one Thursday night there in Savannah, so we'll see who comes away with the victory. Next game up, we're going to move over to Region 1, 6A. Richmond Hill's got to travel to Colquitt County. This region count, again, is kind of up in the air. You got 3 teams tied with, at the top, and then everybody fighting for the 4th spot. Like I said, Richmond Hill, basically, again, I hate to keep quoting Al Davis, but just win. That's exactly what they've got to do. And then they'll kind of see how everything, shakes out from there. Colquitt needs to win to stay on pace with Valdosta and Lowndes. Somebody's got to lose that Valdosta Lowndes game Friday night. So one of them is going to be eliminated. But then you'll have to see who shakes out as the number 1, seed in that region. So Colquitt could either win that region or they could slide all the way down to 3. So really, really important game over, in the Hog Pen on Friday night.
Yeah, both teams obviously with a lot to play for. Richmond Hill fighting for the playoff lives, and Colquitt knowing they're in, but could be the number 1 seed if things work out for them. Of course, they've got to win and then scoreboard watch for that to happen. But, with Richmond Hill, they do control their own destiny, and that's the good thing. If they win, they know they're in. If Camden County, wins as well, then they're certainly in trouble, because obviously Camden beat them and that's a big head-to-head win to break the tiebreaker for the 4th spot. Now, if Richmond Hill were to lose, as long as Camden County loses, they're in, because Richmond Hill would have 2 region wins, the one over Valdosta and the one over Tiff. Camden would just still be sitting there with the 1 region win over Richmond Hill, not getting the season finale at home over the Blue Devils out of Tifton. So obviously, Richmond Hill does have another path into the Final 4 in that region if they don't win the ball game, but it would take Camden, losing theirs. For Camden, they've got to win and hope that Richmond Hill does lose to this Colquitt team they just lost to at home last week. But Sean, I was down at that game at Camden, and this is a game that Richmond Hill can win. The problem is it is over in the Hog Pen in Moultrie, where Colquitt is certainly tough. They're tough anywhere, but they're definitely tough on their home field. But Colquitt likes to run the football. It's not like they have a high-powered passing attack this year, but they've got a lot of good running backs that they can send in the game, rotate in and out, and they're going to come at that front 7 from Richmond Hill hard and physical behind a good offensive line. But when you turn around and give Richmond Hill the ball, obviously they can run it with the troop kid as well, hard between the tackles. They got some speed on the perimeter. They can bust them long runs as well. And, the Hardy kid ran good for Camden last week against this Colquitt defense, so I know Troop can as well. So it's going to kind of be an old-fashioned physical football game that I think could be one in the trenches, could be one between the hash marks. I think if Richmond Hill is going to have to win it, or is going to win it, though, they're probably going to have to loosen up that Colquitt defense, maybe take some shots down the field and see if they can spread them out a little bit, because they are pretty tough, inside there. In between the hashes. But this is a game that I would feel better about for Richmond Hill if it was at home. It is in that Hog Pen. That's going to make it tough, but obviously a big win if they can get it.
Yeah, and good news, bad news for the 912, coverage area here. One team's going to get in.
Yeah.
One team's going to go home. So there's your good news, bad news. So like I said, either Camden or Richmond Hill will be the 4 seed. We just don't know which one, and we just, like I said, the other one is going to go home for the season. So, it's kind of tough to swallow, but it is what it is. So, last game of the night we're going to be talking about is Ware and Wayne. Wayne, bless her heart, struggling 0-9 on the season. Ware needs to win to keep pace to try to lock down that number 2 seed there in that region. So we'll see who gets it done in Jessup. But that's going to do it for all the games on November the 1st. Y'all get out and see a high school football game. We got more on air with 912 Sports coming up right after these messages.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
High schoolers, Did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal!
Hello, everyone. I'm Sean Smoke, filling in for Evan Smoke for his picks of Game of the Week. And we've got a barn burner for you this week. Our Game of the Week is the Pierce County Bears travel over to Baxley to take on the Appling County Pirates. Folks, this is a region championship game with winner taking all. Winner's going to be number one. Loser's going to be number two. It's all going to be on the line over in Baxley at Jimmy Swain Stadium. The Bears coming into the contest 8-0 on the season. Appling coming into the contest 6-2 with 2 losses to very, very talented teams in Ware and DeLand, Florida. So perfect seasons really for both of these guys as far as competition goes. Evan's going to pick the Pierce County Bears to remain undefeated and go 9-0 on the season. So we'll see if he's right. He's sitting there at 7-3 on the season with his win last week over the Ware County Gators. We'll see if he gets it done this week. Stick around. We've got more On Air with 912 Sports coming up right after these messages.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Calling us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
This has been a presentation of 912 Sports.